Welcome into the PHNX Suns pregame show brought to you by our friends at the DraftKings Sportsbook, America's #1 rated sportsbook app. I'm Lindsey Smith, and today I've got my whole squad here with me, Saul, Espo, and Gerald. And guys, tonight, the Phoenix Suns are heading up north. They're taking on the Toronto Raptors, one of the hottest teams in the league right now, win-wise, at least over the last few weeks. They've won 7 out of their last 10, and they're on a 6-game winning streak tonight. How you guys feeling about how this one's going to shake out?
Should be a fun game. On. Let's go. We ain't scared.
I'm gonna say deceptively tough game, but apparently I'm the pessimistic one of the group this week.
Oh, I'm sure it will be difficult. I don't think this is a walk in the park, but this is why we watch NBA games. You don't want it to be boring. You don't want every game to be easy. You want some drama, and I think tonight will give us some of that. I definitely think that this will be a test for this Suns team.
I think it'll be fun in a good way for the Suns because, they haven't been playing their best ball as of recently, but after their super rough loss on Saturday night, I'd expect them to come out of the gates feeling a little bit, maybe not like revenge game against the Raptors, but revenge game against themselves for playing that way.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, listen, they played like crap last game, and they let the Miami Heat absolutely trounce them all over the court. And if they did that in back-to-back games, we have a problem. So the Suns are definitely going to come out with their hair on fire, I think, tonight and kind of prove a point like, hey, just chill. We just had a bad game. It's all good.
Yeah, I think so, too. Oh, I was going to say, I think so, too. I mean, this is a team that has only lost back-to-back games twice this year, even after starting 1-3. Last year, they only lost consecutive games like 5 times, maybe, I think. So it'll be nice to see them bounce back tonight against the Raptors team that's been playing well. This team, the Suns usually get up for challenges, and I think that they're in the mindset, especially the way Monty talked about them pregame, that this team is for real and they're kind of trending in the right direction. So I think they'll take Toronto pretty seriously tonight.
Yeah, they need a Devin Booker game though. We have not seen an efficient shooting Devin Booker game in the last handful of them, and I think that's what is needed. Is that they need him to come out and play, like kind of lift them up offensively, make up for what they're missing tonight in Toronto. And yeah, it will be a game without fans up in Toronto, which is odd. I mean, everybody down here treats it like everything's fine, and Canada's got certain elements of society back kind of shut down, and so no fans, and it will be very quiet in the arena tonight, which maybe means we'll get to hear some trash talking on the mics,
which will be super fun. Gerald, do you remember anything? I know seems like forever ago, even though it wasn't really that long ago, but what do you remember the guys saying about playing without fans?
Yeah, I mean, I think that they got used to it at a certain point in the bubble. They said that it was definitely a very weird thing playing in those gyms without fans. You could tell that some guys kind of thrived on it, and some of the guys that would describe themselves as gym rats really enjoyed it because it was just kind of basketball. And without the fans in the arena, sometimes there's not that same depth perception problem. I think that was more because of the particular courts that they were playing on in the bubble compared to even in a full arena, there'll still be that depth perception. But we saw a lot of guys enter the bubble and just have tremendous runs scoring the ball. So it'll be a little bit different, I think, especially because over the last year or so, they've gotten used to having fans back in the arenas. So it'll be a little mini adjustment that they have to go through tonight. But I think the experience they had in the bubble and not having fans for a good chunk of last season is pretty as good a preparation for something like this as you could hope for.
Yeah. Our resident Canadian, Leah, our host of the Coyote Show, confirms that Toronto is a mess. So
the city, not the Raptors. So
yes, it's
not the team. Have you guys ever been to Toronto?
Yes.
It's
for NBA All-Star. Yes.
Yeah, it's freezing up there. I feel like I might like it, not in the winter time though.
I didn't mind when I was inside in Toronto, but when I was outside, yeah, that was pretty awful. Those were two of the worst All-Stars back-to-back. It was New York City and then Toronto, and both of them had historic cold fronts move in for All-Star weekend. And, when you're coming from Arizona, that kind of sucks. So
absolutely.
Sounds rough.
Leah
That's all I
says,
had. Sounds rough.
But you had more than that.
Leah says it's not that cold. Look at the temperature outside right now and compare it to Toronto. It's that cold, all right?
Yeah, it's a little chilly. Well, the Suns, hopefully they'll get a W tonight because they are tipping off a 5-game road trip. They have performed pretty well on the road so far this year. I mean, honestly, they performed pretty well in general this year, but they're 13-4 on the road so far this year. So hopefully they come home with 5 more W's in their pockets, at least 4 is what I would be hoping for. So let's get into taking a look at who will and who will not be available for tonight's game with our injury report. So on the Phoenix Suns side, they're going to be without Cam Johnson, who has a left ankle sprain, and we'll get into that in just a minute, and Ish Wainwright, who is in health and safety protocols. Landry Shamet is available again. He's out of health and safety protocols. And then Justin Jackson is also not with the team. Then on the Raptors side, we've got Scotty Barnes, who's out with a knee issue, and Gary Trent Jr., who's out with an ankle issue. So that's kind of your overview as far as the injury report goes. Do you guys want to talk about Cam Johnson and the fact that his streak is over because of this injury? Because I need you guys to vent it out for me, okay?
One thing, a couple things. First, I love that Justin Jackson, they say, isn't with the team. Not Canada wouldn't let him into the country. That's what it should say on the report. And then Leah's still arguing that Canada isn't cold. Toronto is 20 degrees with snow right now. So don't tell me that's not cold.
Snow makes it feel a little warmer than without snow, though. So I'll give her that.
It's cold.
Anything below 60 here, I'm like, all right, I better put on a jacket.
Anything below 70 here, Gerald.
Sorry, guys. I've been a little distracted.
Yeah, who are you pen paling with over there?
I am making Phoenix Suns bingo right now.
Oh my gosh.
That's what I've been doing.
What is Saul doing? Who is he
So
writing
far,
notes to?
I have Gerald with "Oh No," Lindsay. I have "I Love Cam" and takes no side. And then Suns, I have a CP3 funny thing or Crowder Cash Club. Espo, so far I have the Suns are the best team in the league or ahoy hoy. For myself, I have a salty rant or swears for kids. I'm still working on it.
Thanks for checking back in, Saul.
Yeah, I am not going to fall into Lindsay's trap of trying to go on a rant about Monty Williams, but I said that this would happen last game. I said, what is the point of keeping your starters in with 4, 5, 6 minutes left to go when you're clearly out of the ball game? There's no chance you're going to come back and win. You're just putting your team at risk of injury. And more importantly, you're wearing them out. You're wearing them out for the long run, especially when you're talking about a guy like CP3. And that's who I was really referring to in that kind of rant the other night. And lo and behold, Cam Johnson gets hurt on the last play of the game. Cam Johnson, who's a vital part of this team and the best three-point shooter they got going on right now, and he gets hurt. And it's just, I fucking told you so, Monty. I fucking told you so.
Well, if only Saul Bookman were the head coach, we'd be in a much better position tonight.
Yeah. I think he just needs to be better at like pulling the plug a little bit because you look at the minutes across the board and they're down, but I think he listens to his guys a little bit too much as far as like these guys never want to quit. They always want to be in there. They always want to be competing. But as the head coach, you kind of have to be like, look, we're down 20 with 5 minutes to go. We don't need anybody in there. I know you guys want to keep playing and like build momentum for next game or whatever, but that kind of stuff, it's secondary to the long-term goals. And like, you just need to pull the plug quicker there. He did take ownership for it in pregame. He said, I wish I wouldn't have put him in that position, period. At the end of the game, we're grateful it wasn't as bad as it could have been. We're hopeful he'll be back and he's day to day. So they dodged a major bullet with this one. It was kind of a fluke play, but it's one that you got to take him out and just avoid that type of thing happening.
Look, I just feel like Monty's never been the best with rotational stuff like this, and to your point, pulling the plug. There's so many times at least one of the starters will be out there with a lot of garbage time guys, and you just go, I don't quite understand this. My guess is that changes after Cam's injury, because that's a scare. That's something that even Monty probably went, yeah, in hindsight, that was not the smartest move, and I can't put my guys in that situation. Unfortunately, it comes at the cost of Cam's streak tonight. But if it's only a game that he's out and Monty learns that lesson, hopefully it's a good thing for this team.
And with Cam being out, Monty did allude to the fact that we might be seeing Sticks a little bit.
Yeah, baby. That's what I'm talking about.
Great, so we can see inefficient minutes.
I swear, let me just say this right now. You better hope to God that Sticks doesn't go off at the 4 position tonight, because you will never, ever, ever, ever let you live that down.
We won't hear the end of it. That's for sure.
Never. If he goes off, you have to hear Sticks kids again, though. So it's a double-edged sword, Saul.
Okay, but what happens if it's a mess? Then what?
Yeah. Oh, he'll never hear the end
his life. He's going to keep living his life.
It's still what's in the best interest of the team moving forward, so I don't care.
Oh, it's not.
But it is.
Okay, so it's for him. Like, that's the only place he's going to get minutes.
Listen, the only way Sticks sees the court. We know this. The only way he sees the court is if he does thrive at the 4 position. Because for the rest of the season, you've got 3 dudes in there when you're playing the big time teams in DA, then you have JaVale, and then Bismack. Like, physically, those 3 are more imposing than Sticks. So Sticks seeing the 5 is very rarely going to happen. So if he wants to see the court, and if the Suns want to get the most out of Sticks, even though they've already declined his option, the 4 is the only way to go. And that was my point from the very start.
Yeah, and Monty would agree with you on that. He also did say before the game that it's a tough spot for him, and he's more comfortable at the 5. He's talked with the coaches about how he's more comfortable at the 5. But, obviously with the way this roster is built, you're right. He's not going to get minutes as a 5 just because they have 2, maybe 3 more quality options in front of him. I think you can use it against certain teams, and that's what Monty's point was tonight, is this is a team that has long guys across the board. So maybe this is a matchup where he can, survive at the 4 or positively contribute. It's just against some of the better teams, unless you're playing like a supersized front court, like maybe the Bucks or something like that. I don't know how much he'll be able to survive at that spot.
I don't know. I could see Sticks matching up against somebody like Bobby Portis or something, a longer kind of, Bobby Portis isn't the fastest guy in the world. So Sticks would be able to stay with him to a degree, or if you had to match up against, let's just say the Clippers, if I think it's Zubac comes back, and then you have, Serge Ibaka on the wing. You need that length at the 4 position maybe to match up with Serge to a degree. So maybe that's the flex. But listen, let's be real. Sticks ain't going to play much.
Okay, yeah, I have a question on that. Go ahead, Espo.
Well, tonight he will. I mean, out of necessity. And Sunderous Dunks says, agree with Saul, you have to try it. And I don't disagree with that mentality. You have to try it because Sticks has earned those minutes and he deserves to get them. But if he proves he's not effective at the 4, you have to just stop it rather quickly and not just keep forcing it because, well, he earned more minutes. If he can't play at the 5 because you have too many, don't play him out of position at the 4 just because you feel like the kid deserves minutes. If you think that and he can't get him here, trade him and let him get him somewhere else.
So my question was just like long-term, right? Just for Jalen Smith as a player in general. Do you think he's better served at a 4 or a 5? Like, what is going to be what's going to make him the most money and have the most success throughout the season?
It depends. Listen. The 5 in a perfect world, the 5 would be a nice, suitable place for him to play. But the only way he's playing the 5 is if he goes to a team that either has a huge salary cap and all of it's going to like the front court players, like a team like Brooklyn, who has KD, Kyrie, James Harden, and he's not a focal point of that team. He's just a contributor. Brooklyn has had plenty of guys that you haven't even heard of play in those positions, and they've been just fine. Like that's where Jalen Smith. But if you think he's going to come into any franchise and be a cornerstone 5, you're high and out of your fucking mind. It's never going to happen. He's going to be a nice, suitable contributing piece for anybody out there in the league. But here on this team, the only way he's going to contribute at a high level is if they somehow manage to get more out of him at the 4 position. Because other than that, he's not going to be something you rely on at the 5 position when you get to the playoffs. It's just not happening.
Yeah, but I don't think anybody's thinking that if he plays the 5 somewhere else, he's suddenly going to become a star. I think he's a backup no matter what.
There are dudes
plays.
in
I don't.
Ask Espo. Look at Twitter. There are guys that literally think that we should have, or there are people. I shouldn't say just guys, because it's
I was going to say
people.
it's always
my
guys.
bad. No,
Sticks kids.
yeah, they definitely think that we should hold on to Sticks and trade DA. It's atrocious.
What? No,
Oh, yeah.
wait,
I get-
what?
Oh,
I get
yeah.
that constantly.
Oh, my God.
Oh,
Oh,
Sticks
yeah.
and JaVale can handle the center.
Yeah.
Trade DA.
Yep.
No.
Yep.
We've been through this before. We don't have to dive into that again. But I think Sticks' best position to carve a career out for himself is clearly the 5. We've seen him play pretty well starting as a 5 the last few weeks, and not against the best teams, but that's his best spot. I don't think he's a starter no matter which spot he plays. I think he can be a high-end backup or a guy that contributes on a decent team if he's a backup 5. But on this team, on a title contender, he's nowhere near ready to surpass JaVale, maybe even Frank Kaminsky in the rotation at that 5 spot. So it is what it is.
I
Yeah,
think
he-
the reason. Go ahead, Espo.
I should say a great 4-game stretch. You're really going to trust playoff basketball to him over a guy like JaVale McGee, who's won a championship, Frank Kaminsky with playoff experience, and
Clearly, in his minutes against the Hornets, he proved he could handle the playoffs.
he's an all NBA center, and I just want you to know that. And DeAndre Ayton does not show that kind of effort or dunking like Jalen Smith does.
Listen,
Okay, I did see
if
that
he
one.
just got the opportunity, guys, I swear he would come through in a major way.
Not the glasses.
That was hilarious.
Yes, he would.
Nerds.
Oh, no.
No, there we
no.
go.
Damn it.
I think the reason why it's hard for me to really get on board with this particular argument, I don't like arguments in general, but this particular one is is Sticks going to even be on this team in the next month? And he's definitely most likely not going to be on this team in the next year. So I just don't see why we would invest in him, in his development, and trying to figure him out at the 4 right now if we didn't have to.
Well, Lindsay,
You know what I mean? Like in a
welcome to-
night like this, obviously, yes, you kind of have to because Cam's out. He's going to have to slide in there and do something. But overall, big picture, it's kind of like whatever is best for him and the longevity of his career, I want him to do that so that he can make his money, get his bag, and enjoy a career.
Lindsay, on behalf of James Jones and the rest of the Phoenix Suns franchise, I'd like to welcome you to the front office because that's exactly what they're thinking. They're like,
Yeah.
why? We might as well just trade him and get it over with.
I mean, it's just like, I love the line of the Sticks Kids. The song was great, but it's just kind of like, at what point do we just chalk it up as an L and move on, you know?
I got to turn that thing black and white with some grim music if he ever
It
does
already
get traded.
has the grim music. Justin in the chat saying, but if you got Sabonis and JaVale McGee and Sticks on the bench.
All right, here's the thing. We are drastically overlooking what DA does on the defensive side of the
God.
ball. We think that is going to work out. Sabonis is a phenomenally gifted offensive player. He's a better passer. He puts up big numbers. He's a good scorer and can handle the ball. He's nowhere near the defensive talent that DA is, especially at the 5 spot. It's just not, it's not the same thing at all. Like, you need DA for both sides of the floor for what he does as a rim runner, an above the rim threat, an alley-oop guy on offense too. Those are dynamics that he brings to the offense. And it's part of the reason why JaVale McGee is so successful. They have those similar traits. Mixing it up like that, disrupting the chemistry, getting rid of a guy who's young, who's going to be in his prime for the next 5 to 6 years, it makes no sense to me. You pay DA this summer. You don't bring in a Domantas Sabonis when you have one of the best two-way centers in the game right now.
Fabio, what if we trade Ayton for Rashawn Holmes and Aaron Fox? Just kidding.
All right, gentlemen, let's move on and see what our friends over at DraftKings think about tonight's game. Espo?
5.5-point favorites for the Suns. This line actually moved. I looked at it earlier in the day, and I think it was a 4.5-point spread for the Suns. So I'm surprised it moved an extra point in the Suns' favor here. Toronto is a fantastic defensive team, can play both small and big. I'm surprised that they moved that line. Now, I still wind up picking the Suns by more than the line, but I'm just surprised that it went that route.
Well, it's the Landry Shamet effect, you know.
Oh yes.
No,
Why is everybody trying to trigger me today? I don't understand this.
No, the Raptors don't have Scotty Barnes or Gary Trent Jr., so that's probably why. That would be my guess.
Saul, would you like a hug?
No, not from you. Literally not from anybody on this panel right now.
Rude.
I don't like physical contact.
Right? That's exactly. You said, why are we trying to trigger you? And I thought, well, what's the other thing that triggers you? Physical contact. So I offered it. All right.
There you go. You're lucky we're not in our studio. Espo would be trying to hug you right now.
No, I'd scissor kick him.
It's all jacked up on Mountain Dew.
Well, let's share what we think the outcome of tonight's game is going to be. So I've got Suns by 4. Guys, want to share yours?
Yeah. Gerald didn't understand the assignment and he just copied you.
I got
Suns
first
by 1.
I went Suns by 7. I'm feeling optimistic today. So
Suns by 1.
So we've got.
Okay,
got
Saul, I
one
think
person with the Suns covering then.
Yeah. Saul, I want to hear from you. Suns by 1. You think this is going to be a little bit of a tough game? Is it just because of what Toronto's been doing lately?
Yeah, I mean, there's a combination of things. You know, it's first of all, yes, what Toronto has done lately. Like as Espo had already pointed out, they're one of the better defensive teams in the league. Secondary, and we can't minimize this. To go from arenas filled with fans to utter silence in the crowd, that's a different feeling. I know they went through it last year, but they got used to the playoff run and all this other stuff. Everything kind of felt like it was back to normal. And then you just basically just shut it off all of a sudden. I think that's going to have a little bit of an effect. And you know, the energy is not going to be quite as high as it used to be. And so I think all that combined, I think a 1-point game, I would be happy with the win no matter how it comes.
it's going to be a positive effect on Devin. He did some of his best work with silent crowds over the first 4 years of his career in Phoenix. So
I was going to say the same thing, but not so much as a jab about the team and all that stuff, but more so like him getting in the gym for runs and stuff.
Espo doesn't quite understand what our mantra is here at PHNX.
Hey, I'm right there with
we don't jab our own fans.
I'm not jabbing them. I was right there with them. What did they give anybody to cheer about? The fans were in the right, you know?
I mean, that is fair. You can't blame the fans for not showing up for some of the basketball that we were given over the last decade or so. Like that, like I would be, you can only, like, if you're spending your hard-earned money to go watch that, like, you can't blame fans for not wanting to do that. I don't blame them at all.
I finished
pigs in a trough. Jeez.
I got to go to the games. I got to go to those games for free, and I thought about quitting NBA coverage during that time because it was.
I actually did. I took a 5-year hiatus from it just because
you was like, this is too much. I am out. Cannot handle this. So what you finished the bingo card. So what all show it to us. So
we have
Espo, can we make him the full screen?
Sir. So Gerald is the first category. So we'll go down Gerald. Okay. Let's see. Let me there it is. All right. So Gerald, we have an analytic breakdown. Sticks is a 5. Oh no. And then what does that one say?
Hard roll eyes.
He hard roll of the eyes, or he hides his face. Then we have I hate Minnesota. And then Lindsay then Lindsay is I love Cam, takes no sides, I love cheese, Lindsay book reference, or I've been to X city. And then we have for the Suns, we have CP3 funny thing, Monty Program, Lindsey Says Hi. That's a free space. And Crowder Cash Club, and then EJ Analytics. And then Espo, Sticks Kids. The Suns are the best team in the league. Nerds, Ahoy Hoy. And I've also been to X City. And then for myself, Salty Rant, DA Stan Rant, Cam, and then Yawn, because I always yawn, and Squares for Kids.
We need to get this actually designed and get it out there. Mix up the squares.
We will definitely do that. I will send this over to Arnold, and we'll get that done so people can play.
I feel like people are going to win in like the first 5 minutes of the show.
I don't know.
Somebody's going to be like, bingo.
Gerald's is kind of difficult.
Especially when he's at an arena. We only get him for 5 minutes.
I know. So
That's true.
You got to really throw in the zingers in there to get him to hide his face or say, oh, no. Otherwise, you probably lose bingo that night.
Oh man, you guys! It always happens where you guys say something about a player when they're standing right fucking next to you.
My goal is for them to hear that and be like, "What?
What did you just say?"
You just want to start fights, don't you, Saul?
He's got his AirPods in. Should they ever malfunction, I will be ready to roar.
Gerald just got scissor kicked by Sticks. Oh my god!
Oh my God.
God. Well, gentlemen, we are just a few minutes away from this game starting. Before we say goodbye until the post-game show, anything else you would like to bring up?
Manuel saying, if this was made into a drinking game, y'all going to ruin a lot of people's lives. Now drinking bingo. Now you got me thinking. We should do an episode where we do Eddie phrases and stuff on a bingo card, and we all have to take shots when we get one right.
What I think I would like to do is, and I need your permission, everybody, to just promise me that you won't go onto our Twitter or my Twitter. I'll just put it on my Twitter. I'll say it like that. I'm going to post a phrase of the night or something that I'm looking for, and I'm going to take a shot every single time in the post game somebody does that thing.
We gonna get so drunk.
Yep.
Oh my God.
But if you see it and then you do it just to get me drunk, well, F you.
You should have Shane send it from his account. Nobody'd ever see what it was said.
Oh, damn.
Okay, with that, last thing I'm going to mention, Elon Musk said, is Hall of Fame Shamit playing today? He is available, so likely we will see a little bit of him out there.
Awesome.
With that,
can't wait.
You guys can follow me on Twitter at Lindsey Smith AZ. You can follow Saul on Twitter at Saul_Bookman. You can follow Gerald at Gerald Bourguet. And of course, you can follow Espo at Espo. And just a reminder, we will be right back here after the game ends. So come hang out with us. Until then, enjoy the game. We'll see you guys later.
40 mil. Here we go.
Ahoy, ahoy.
Yay.